I know a lot of people, and they rightly consider you one of the finest we've had. But I think your greatest contribution outside of filmmaking, which is obvious and that is there to be seen, is how you created an ecosystem of writers, of technicians, of actors in Warsaw, where you currently are. There wasn't much going on in terms of a scene. I mean, before you, Ram Gopal Verma, to a huge extent, who you worked with initially. Are there stories that you remember of people who you bumped into either on the street or somewhere else in an office? Is there a favorite story? Are
Loads.
there favorite stories?
I have loads of stories of people, how I met them and things like that. Like Shriram was always a very lazy, reluctant. He was a very good filmmaker, but a lazy, reluctant person. And I was such a massive fan of Raman Raghav and the way Shriram worked. He made Ranga Billa. And I used to write for Shivam Nair. And they gave me my first credit because I was very happily working without credit. I would do anything as long as I was working. For a script written by Shiv Subramaniam that I rewrote, they gave me credit because it was not supposed to give me credit because it was understood. I was taking somebody else's script and rewriting it because I said I had to take on it. So them letting me generously allow me to give that take. So that was what Auto Narayan was, which paved way for Satya in a way. Very strange story was a film that never got made. A script that I wrote officially first time, which was supposed to be made into a film for Kamal Swaroop as a director called Nagarajan.
Okay.
I found this actor who I was a fan of from stage called Manoj Bajpayee. And I put Manoj Bajpayee and the film together. The film never happened. But Manoj was going through such a hard struggle at that time. Nobody had shown that kind of faith in him. So when Ram Gopal Verma was shooting Daud with him, he asked Manoj Bajpayee that I want to make a film with you. I have this kind of film. Do you know any writer who can do this? So Manoj, without having seen any written work, took me to Ram Gopal Verma to meet him. There's stories like that. There's another amazing story is one of my most favorite stories, like how Mahesh Bhatt and Mukesh Bhatt used to be. Bhatt Saab was literally before Ram Gopal Verma happened, before anybody happened. He picked me up and he was like, "This guy is very talented," and like he would get me to write films. And Mukesh Bhatt, is very miserly when it comes to giving money.
Yeah.
And that struggle is so much that it was, and my closest friend at that time in the industry was the kindest to me. One of the people who were the nicest and kindest to me was Pooja Bhatt. And I would go and tell her, Pooja said, just go talk to dad. So I went and I said, I'm walking out. I'm not working in this film. And Mukesh Bhatt said, Aisa kya hai? Because he would change in front of Mahesh ji. This is why you're doing this. He said, rather be a carpenter, but I won't work in this office. And Bhatt Saab didn't say a word to. I was like waiting for him to say something. And I left the office. I go downstairs and the watchman tells me, Bhatt Saab ne bola, ek minute rukne ko. So I waited. And the whole thing was because I was desperate. I had to pay rent and I didn't have rent money. Mahesh Bhatt came down and he gave me 10,000 in my hands. At that time, 94, 95, as a wad of cash. And he says, go pay your rent and do not change as a person. And for me, that's very overwhelming. So what happened was, years later, I made Black Friday. And it was banned in India. It was showing at a festival in England. And I was talking about how I walked out on Mukesh Bhatt. And I didn't tell this. And from the crowd, the voice says, और महेश भट्ट ने जो पैसे दिए थे वो भूल गए. And Bhatt Saab was sitting in the crowd. And I got so emotional. So I had incidents like that, which was very funny. I remember Amit Khanna, when I walked out of this TV series that Plus Channel was doing with them, and Amit Khanna drove me in a car and saying that, why are you leaving it? I say, I want to do this film that I really believe in. He said, what film is this? It's Satya. He says, we're getting so much money. And I said, I don't know. I just want to do Satya. It was such a instinctive thing. And I had to write that film. At that time, I was cast in the play called Androcles and the Lion by Nasiruddin Shah. So Nasir was also very upset. I walked out of everything to do Satya. So I have those stories. I remember one actor friend of mine told me, there's this very good actor who's struggled so much and given up, and he's now going back to Bombay. And can you stop him? And that time I was also doing casting for Ram Gopal Verma. So that actor was Rajpal Yadav. Right. So Rajpal Yadav was leaving Bombay out of desperation, going back to Jabalpur. I convinced him to stay back. I said, I'll give you one scene role in Shool. Rajpal Yadav ke bagal mein dusra actor tha, patla dubla sa, was Nawazuddin Siddiqui.
Right.
तो नवाजुद्दीन सिद्दीकी said, सर मुझे भी कोई काम मिल जाएगा. मैंने कहा यार एक ही रोल है, किसी एक को मिल सकता है, इसमें छोटा रोल कर लूंगा. तो मैंने कहा मैं कोई डायलॉग नहीं, कुछ नहीं है, वेटर का रोल है, इसे मैं कर लूंगा. मैंने कहा पैसे नहीं मिलेंगे. ये सर एक दिन के खाने का हो जाएगा ना, मैं कर लूंगा. So that's how Rajpal Yadav and Nawazuddin I met. And Rajpal Yadav turned that one scene into his scene, which led him to do Jungle.
Right.
And Nawazuddin Siddiqui did a small role of a waiter, which you still can see in the film. He comes and takes orders. And उसमें भी वो अपना कुछ करता है.
Have you like made like these random cameos in films where we can spot you before you became a director? Given that you worked in so many of these films.
Gang, lots of films. You should see Gang, Mazhar Khan's Gang. One day I remember I get a message from somebody saying that, were you there in Gang? So I remember I was there in Gang. Gang is that Mazhar Khan movie with Nana Patekar, Jackie Shroff, everybody. So I have a scene with Nana Patekar and everything in Gang. And I have this very thin cop. Again a cop. I'm again a cop in a Hollywood film called The Maharaja's Daughter back in 93. I was cast in the film. I was too young. I did not even have a mustache. With Burt Young. Burt Young, you remember from Rocky. Sylvester Stallone's trainer. I had a scene with him.
Right.
I played a cop in that Hollywood film as well. So I have lots of cop roles. And Gang, I played a cop with. The scene was with Nana Patekar, Javed Jafri. Like it was a scene. I'm an honest cop who they're manipulating. You can spot me in Gang.
You got paid for it. It's a proper role in the sense of you've been cast through an audition and those processes.
No, Gang, I was cast through. I was promised money. I was never paid that money.
अच्छा पैसा भी नहीं मिला.
Gang, I think nobody got paid. Even the stars didn't get paid. Everybody did it for the love of Mazhar Khan. That's why the film took 10 years to get made. I have like stories when I used to carry Bhatt Saab's books, standing on the set of, I don't know what was the Yash Johar film, he did Duplicate or something, and standing outside and so intimidated. Shah Rukh I knew from university days. I'd seen him, so I was never intimidated by him in that way. But standing by the set, the grandness of the set, and Bhatt Saab Katha, and I was carrying his books, and I was hungry and I had no money, I was standing outside. I remember Yash Johar seeing me, and Yash Johar was such a unlike any producer that I've met ever since or even before. He's just the most kindest, most amazing human being. He sensed I was hungry, and he came to me and he came and asked me. He says, "एक काम करो, किताब रखो साइड में, कहीं भागी नहीं जा रही है, पहले चलो बैठो खाना खाओ." And he took me aside and he put me down and he fed me. So those little things that you remember for life. Once I was hungry, I just walked into Jannat. I went to Shah Rukh Khan's house because using our college connection, I remember him feeding me. He only knew how to make omelets. I've done things like that.
I mean, this is around the time that you already had a mansion in Bandstand.
Yeah. This is before No Smoking. This is after I had made Black Friday and all. I was in very bad shape. This is after my marriage had broken up. I was literally homeless things. I was like struggling for lots of things. And 2 films were banned, Black Friday and Panch.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.